Hello, everybody. My name is Amanda Goyette, and I am the co-producer of this co-design podcast, and I am here today with
Dave Humphreys, Associate Professor of Communication.
Amanda Goyette, I'm a student here at SNHU.
Spencer Tyler, I'm also a senior here at SNHU.
Kylie Jackson, I'm also a senior here at SNHU.
And Angie Rupel, a senior here at SNHU.
Today we're doing our co-designed episode on the Comm Studio class. So, Dave, could you please start us off with telling us how did the Comm Studio get started?
Sure. So in the heyday of COVID, we were tasked with redesigning and rethinking about the way that our programs are being offered. As part of that, Andrea Bard, Tracy Dow, and myself got together to think about ways that we could develop classes that are focused around students interacting with clients external from the university. And so the studio came about from that as a way to introduce students to client projects outside of internships, to allow students flexibility and freedom to work with clients that they would like to work with, allow students the opportunity to prepare for the workforce while they're still in school.
For those of us that don't know, what is the Comm Studio? And we can just go around.
The Comm Studio is a series of 6 classes that students will take throughout their time in the major, and they scaffold up from learning how to work in groups, learning how to be productive team members, all the way through leading teams, interacting with clients, and ultimately culminating in a capstone project during which senior students can hire first, second, and third year students to work with them and help them make their project.
I like the Comm Studio, and I think it's one of the best classes I've taken. I think I've learned a lot of great skills, and like Dave mentioned earlier, I get to work with clients, a lot of great people in it. So yeah.
The studio's greatest gift to me has been the ability to work with clients and really experiment with real world scenarios, which I'm really grateful for. I've never actually told Dave that, but I think the experience that I've taken away from this class has really helped my resume and has helped when I'm in an interview with a lot of professionals.
I've been fortunate enough to be one of the students that has been a part of the Comm Studio from the very beginning, and over the past 3.5 years, I've gotten to really see it grow into what it's become today. And like my classmates have just mentioned, I think that it has been one of the most, if not the most beneficial course that I have taken here at SNHU. I think it does a great job at combining all of the necessary skills that not only are required for anybody outside of school, especially for our major. And so I think that it's just a really, really awesome experience that everybody should get to have.
So not only is the Comm Studio just incredibly beneficial for working with real life clients and whatnot, it is also just incredibly interesting to be able to use group work in a more high stakes environment. So it's not just I'm making this slideshow with a bunch of people that I've just met. It is have to work with them and put in all of my best work so that we can give a client what they actually need. And that's just probably the real world experience that you can't get anywhere else.
For other majors that might be interested in taking this class, is it only for communications majors?
So when we originally designed it, we were hoping that it would be open to anybody who wants to come join, because really working on client projects isn't limited to 1 or 2 majors. You can bring in anybody from any other major and they'll have something important to contribute as well. So my hope is eventually that more folks take it just as a way to fill some free electives and get that portfolio experience that then they can travel on with to careers or internships or other life events.
So actually this semester I'm working with Dave to actually expand the Comm Studio and work on getting more non-comm majors to sign up. Something that we've really been looking forward to get out there because it's such a great class. It offers a lot of great things like everyone mentioned. So
The fun of being a comm major and also a marketing minor is that I get to see the studio from a different perspective, and I believe that my work as a marketing minor, I think that impacts, like I get to learn from two perspectives, and I think I've worked with enough people that are not comm majors within the studio, whether it's the graphic design side, or I know I had a couple team members that were marketing majors, so I know that they benefited off of it, and I think that everyone can as well.
Going off of what Spencer mentioned about marketing majors, my roommate is a marketing major, and I actually convinced her to take Comm Studio because she was really looking for a course that would give her a different perspective, like Spencer said, while also real life experience. And so she went through the Comm Studio, and she still raves about it to this day. And I got to see some of her skills improve in certain areas, which was awesome as a friend and also as a fellow student. So I would definitely say it's beneficial for any student here.
Every student should take the studio, but also another thing to point out is having undecided majors come into the studio and then make their decision going off of that. I know last semester Spencer and I had an undecided major, Warren, on our team, and he actually loved the studio so much and saw his future in communication and decided to switch to being a comm major, which was just great to see.
For the students here, what has been the biggest impact the Comm Studio has had on your life? Whether it's personal or work experience, just anything.
For me, I think I learned a lot of professional skills last semester working with the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. I really learned how to work well with a team, and it made working with groups and other people in the future way easier. And I just think it's something that I'll definitely continue to carry with me in my future.
I think the most important lesson I've learned from the studio is the client expectation and versus like client reality, and like what us as students can produce versus what they may be thinking that they want. With my experience on leave 4 different clients now, it's definitely different between each client for what they're expecting, but as long as you can match their energy and match with their outputs, like what they're looking for an output, then I think that's the main goal.
I think this course and this major as a whole has had a wonderful impact on my life, not only as a student, but as a person. Because I've been in the studio from the very beginning, I can look back and reminisce on that very first semester and that very first client experience and see how far I've come now as a senior working on my capstone. It's just really cool to see how me and my classmates have grown as professionals and as people getting ready to prepare for the workforce. As an individual, I've had so many amazing experiences meeting some of my lifelong friends, going on a study abroad trip to France and Spain through the major. And so there's just been a lot of really amazing things that this course and this major has brought to my life.
So the Comm Studio class, not only do you just learn a lot and work with real clients and all that, but it being a 6-class cycle, you really get to look back and see how far you've come, and you get to measure your success and see where you started from and where you are now. So now being in my 4th year and working on my capstone and my final project, I get to look back at the first year Angie on campus with no real life experience and just see how far I've come now is incredible.
To that point too, I think that there have been a number of students that go through that we see on day one, and they don't know how to send an email, or they're afraid to have any type of confrontational conversation, and by the end of maybe even year 1, but definitely sort of like junior year in the studio, the confidence levels completely changed, and you feel like you're looking at almost a different person, and that's I would say very true for most people as they come in to the studio.
The last question I want to ask everybody here today is, what has been your favorite part of the Comm Studio class?
For me, it's the people in the class itself. I don't feel like I'm going to class. I feel like I'm actually just going to hang out with my friends. The hour and 15-minute block, in my opinion, almost feels like it's 20 minutes when I'm in that classroom. I don't know what goes by in that time. Half the time we're just laughing, having a great time. And like we said earlier, we're learning a bunch of new stuff each day, so it's just always a great time there.
My favorite thing is just seeing the aha moments when you all make a connection and you realize something that I've known for, I don't know, 2 months at that point, but didn't want to tell you. Because we talked about this in class the other day. Part of it is the struggle to get to that point, and you learn through pushing yourself and figuring out like how hard it can be to get to that client project that you need to finish by the end of the semester. And that aha moment will come. It comes for everybody in the class, I've found, and it just comes at different points. And it's always such a cool experience when one little thing happens and you just see like everything connect in somebody's mind, and I'm like, nice, and then we just kind of move on, but usually that's kind of that profound moment for that student.
I think the best takeaway from the studio for me has been my increased number of people I can say, hey, as I walk down a street on campus. Like, I get to increase my own sense of community here at SNHU because of the people that I get to work with. Due to being a team lead 3 times now, I get to foster a good sense of community within my group, and I think that radiates throughout the studio class.
Going off of a combination of what Ryan and Dave said, I think that it's really the people that makes this course what it is. As I mentioned earlier, I have met some of my very best and lifelong friends, and like Ryan said, it doesn't feel like coming to class, it feels like coming to hang out with some of my favorite people and my favorite professor on campus, which is really great. But it also is really cool to see how we are able to uplift each other and push each other through those forced, uncomfortable moments of uncertainty and figuring out how to navigate life outside of school, which is something that we're all sort of stepping into right now in that transition of being seniors. And so I think with each year and each new chapter of our lives that we're going through, it's been really great to see that sense of community become stronger every time.
For me, as a commuter, it's kind of tough having a sense of community on campus. You don't feel like you're as included in a lot of things, and the studio has been one of those things that I connect with others on campus, and I've made so many friends and I've had so many great experiences, and seeing all of your hard work lead up to something great has just been incredible. For example, I've been on the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion team for a couple years now, and that day where we have the concert and we're all there and we're covering social media for the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion and looking back at all the hard work we did and see where it led is just great. Can't get it anywhere else. Yeah.
Being a comm major myself, I did want to tackle this question as well. My favorite part of the studio, especially being not only a transfer student but also a commuter student, it was very hard to find that sense of community like Angie said. But I also think that the comm studio gave me that community. It gave me a professor that supports me no matter what I choose to do. And I really just enjoy all the relationships that I've made and am excited to go forward into the future. Thank you all for coming today. And this is the Co-Design Podcast.